Good morning to all. This is Anil Kumar Reddy. In this video, I am going to explain transient response of RLC series circuit for DC excitation. Okay, so here it is. So first, we will be looking into transient response of RLC series circuit for DC excitation. Okay, so in this RLC circuit, we have to make some assumptions that the initial voltage across the capacitor is 0, or you can say initial charge in the capacitor is 0. Okay. Second point is initial current through the capacitor or initial current through the inductor is 0. So which means we have to assume 0 initial conditions for all elements in the circuit. Okay. Next, resistor, inductor and capacitor are connected in series, and this combination is connected in series with the voltage source and a switch. Okay, there is a switch which is initially open in open position, and we are connecting this the switch RLC series combination and a voltage source in series. Okay, next let us look into the circuit diagram. So the words that I told you earlier are in the form of a circuit now. So there is a voltage source connected to a switch, and that resistor, inductor and capacitor are connected in series along with the source and a switch. Now let us assume that I of t is the current flowing through the circuit after closing the switch at t equal to 0, which means when you close the switch at t equal to 0, immediately current starts flowing. Okay, and let us say that current is I of t. Okay, now so first we have to apply KVL. So if we apply KVL in the loop, so you can see KVL means Kirchhoff's voltage law. The algebraic sum of voltages in a loop is equal to 0. So we can write minus V of t plus R into I of t. R into I of t means voltage drop across the resistor. Next L into di by dt. So L into di by dt means voltage across the inductor, voltage drop across the inductor. Next, the current or voltage drop across the capacitor is 1 by C integral I of t dt. So that is the application of KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law. So V of t is equal to R into I of t plus L into di by dt plus 1 by C integral I of t dt. So now what we will do is we are going to apply Laplace transform on both sides for this equation, because we are getting a differential equation. Okay, to be precise, it is an integral differential equation. So if you can apply Laplace transform, this differential equation will be converted into a algebraic equation. So once we got the algebraic equation, we can find the roots. Once we got the roots, we can easily find the inverse Laplace transform so that we can find the solution. So in order to solve this equation, okay, this differential equation, what we are going to do is first we are going to apply Laplace transform on both sides. So if you apply Laplace transform on both sides, so V of t will become V of s is equal to R into I of s, R into I of s plus L into s into I of s minus I of 0 plus integration of differentiation, integration of Laplace transform of integration is 1 by C into I of s by s plus Vc of 0 by s. Vc of 0 means voltage across the capacitor, initial voltage across the capacitor. As we already assumed that initial current flowing through the inductor and initial voltage across the capacitor is 0. So what we are going to do now is we are going to make these two terms as 0. Once you make them 0, we can simplify the equation like this. Okay, so now we assuming initial conditions 0, so that the equation can be modified as V of s is equal to I of s is taken as common. So we can write R plus Ls plus 1 by Sc. So that is the simplified equation after applying the initial conditions. Okay. So next we are going to do, see here. So here V of t is equal to U of t. What is U of t? U of t means unit step function, which means he is mathematically he is saying that we are applying a DC voltage. So Laplace transform of V of s is 1 by s. 1 by s means it is the Laplace transform of unit step function. Okay. So we can write 1 by s here. Okay, instead of v of s, we will write 1 by s is equal to I of s into R plus Ls plus 1 by Sc. So after simplifying further, what we will do is we will take I of s, this I of s. So I of s is equal to, we can write 1 by L, okay, 1 by L by s square plus R by L plus R by L into s plus 1 by Lc. So that form will be obtained after some simplification. So you have to mathematically simplify the above equation to get I of s equal to 1 by L by s square L plus R by Ls plus 1 by Lc. As you can see, the denominator is a quadratic equation. It is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. So you know how to solve a quadratic equation. So if you want to find the roots of quadratic equation, so if you want to find the roots of quadratic equation, then what you are going to say? It is if the quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, then the roots of that quadratic equation is minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. So if you apply that, then you can write this one. The roots of denominator for the above quadratic equation is minus b. So minus b means minus r by L plus or minus, so plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Instead of writing 2 here, we are trying to write here only. Therefore, we are writing minus r by 2l, and this 2 also we are integrating it into the root. Therefore, we will write r square by 4l square minus 1 by lc. Okay. So these are the roots. If you got these roots, then in this equation you can see under root you have r square by 4l square minus 1 by lc. Let us take this 1 by root lc or omega naught square equal to 1 by lc, which means this will become omega naught square. So this will become omega naught square, and zeta omega naught is equal to 2 by l. Here you are going to have zeta omega naught. So zeta omega naught. So let us assume in that, so that you can find zeta is equal to r by 2 root of c by l. So once you assume all these factors, or you can say once you assume all these terms, that is omega naught, zeta omega naught and zeta, then you can write I of s is equal to 1 by L by 1 by S1 minus into 1 by minus S2, S minus S2, where S2 is the root, S1 is also root of quadratic equation. Okay. So if you got the roots and if you can make them partial fractions, here we are doing partial fractions. So after making partial fractions, we can write 1 by L into S1 minus S2 plus 1 by L into S2 minus S1 by S in S minus S2. So this is nothing but we are making, so we are making here, we are making partial fractions. So after making partial fractions, we can write in this form. So after making partial fractions, what you have to do? You have to, so what we are doing here is we are substituting the values of S1 and S2, so that we will write I of S is equal to 1 by 2 omega naught L into root of zeta square minus 1 into 1 by S minus S1 minus 1 by S minus S2. So in some textbooks you may find a different method, but ultimately we are going to get the same answer. So no need to confuse about that. You can follow Chakravarti also, or you can follow this video, or you can follow some other method. Whatever method you follow, you must have the same answer. Methods may be different, but answer will be the same. Okay. So once we got I of S, what we will do is we will try to apply inverse Laplace transform. So inverse Laplace transform on both sides, so that I will write I of t is equal to 1 by 2 omega naught root of zeta square minus 1 into L. That is constant. Therefore, we are writing it aside. Then into e power zeta omega naught t into e power omega naught t root of zeta square minus 1 minus e power minus omega naught t into root of zeta square minus 1. So once you got I of t, there are three cases here, which may, because if r is less than 2 root L by c, then zeta is less than 1. So if zeta is less than 1, you are going to have this solution, that is I of t is equal to 1 by omega naught into L root of 1 minus zeta square into e power minus zeta omega naught t sine omega naught t root of 1 minus zeta square. So this is said to be oscillatory or underdamped function. So underdamped function means zeta will be less than 1, or you can say r is less than 2 root L by c. And in case 2, if r is equal to root L by c, zeta equal to 1, you will get this answer, that is I of t is equal to 1 by L into t into e power minus omega naught t. So after that, so we call it as a critically damped condition or critically damped function. Next, we will, in case 3, if r is greater than 2 root L by c, which means zeta greater than 1. If zeta is greater than 1, we call it as a overdamped function. And the solution of overdamped function you can see on the screen. So I of t is equal to 1 by omega naught L into zeta square minus 1 under root into e power minus zeta omega naught t sine h of omega naught t root of zeta square minus 1. So these are the solutions of each case. There are three cases. While you are solving the problem, you can fall into any one case. Okay. So if you are getting r zeta less than 1, you can write only one solution. If zeta will be equal to 1, you can write only one solution. Or if zeta is greater than 1, you can write one solution. So you cannot write all the three equations while you are solving the problem, but for theoretical purpose we are discussing all the three cases. Okay. So let us look into these responses graphically. So the current response, which means current through the capacitor or current through the resistor or current through the inductor, when the switch is closed at t is equal to 0 with 0 initial conditions and the input is a DC input. In such cases, for so this will be the underdamped case. Underdamped means there are more oscillations. It will take more time to reach a steady state value. So we call it as a underdamped condition or underdamped case. Next, critically damped case. Critically damped means it will straight away go to peak value, then it will fall to a steady state value gradually. So this is a critically damped condition. Okay. Next, over damped condition means it will not go to peak, uh, which means it will take less time to reach its a steady state value. So that condition is known as over damped condition. So this is the response of current when a DC source is applied to RLC series circuit through a switch. So in any case, these are the transient responses. until here. So this is called transient response or natural response. After 5 time constants, it is going to reach a steady state response. So this is called steady state response, and this is a transient response. A transient response is due to the nature of elements. Steady state response is due to the nature of input or nature of forcing function. So steady state response is also known as forced response, and transient response is also known as natural response. So complete response equal to natural response plus steady state response. Okay. So in next video we will be discussing some problems on transient response of RL, RC and RLC series circuit. Okay. Thank you.